Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So Ubisoft Forward is coming very soon. We're on the way to, see what it is that the developers have for us, what the publishing company Ubisoft has. And it's going to be quite educational, to say the least. And we're going to know exactly what it is we're up against and what we're going to be experiencing as a community. One thing about the Tom Clancy, the Division games, is the community side of things. Community is big with this ecosystem, and the developers have made it so, unlike the Assassin's Creed games, where they've decided to keep them as single-player games. The Division, Ghost Recon games, these games, the development teams have, and the publishers, anyways, have decided to take these to a much more community-based level. Now, how is this going to look when the E3 events come around? What is this going to mean for the community as a whole? I think there are many things to consider here. In fact, I don't even know if one video can do all of this, justice. But anyways, if you enjoy the content, feel free to do whatever you like. Leave a comment. You can subscribe. You can maybe like it. I don't know. I don't know why anybody likes my videos. My videos are quite controversial if you weigh a lot of them. But hey, whatever. Do whatever it is you please. Anyways. You think about all of this and you say, what is this going to mean? And as a community, how are we going to experience all of this? And to answer that question, you really have to weigh a lot of things. You got to look on the broader gaming scene. Got to look at the broader E3 / this big promotional type deal where they come in and they announce all of this fluff and show trailers, and all these companies come just to basically market their games with unfettered, with no restrictions, anyways, no reserve. And you got to think about the past results that we've seen even after all of the fluff has been delivered. And what I mean is, if you think about, say, the E3, pre-2020 E3s, think about the one where, CD Projekt Red came to the E3 with Cyberpunk 2077 and did a press-only showing of the game. I don't know if you guys remember that. Everybody was so hyped because they crowded it. They shrouded the game in this weird shroud of mystery, and people thought to themselves, "Oh my goodness, this game is gonna be the greatest game ever." And all the press people came out there fawning, saying, "Oh, this is amazing." And then the game dropped and basically destroyed a lot of the credibility, or even a lot of the relationships that developers had with communities. Every game post Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to receive any kind of fair shake from their communities. In fact, every game I feel right now has reverted to being hyper criticized, like the 2017 debacle after the Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA debacle. And it's like we revisit these cycles over and over again. But if you look at the Division, I think even though the Division may not be a perfect game, well, right now I think it kind of is, but let's just leave that for another discussion. They came to E3 because they already had an existing community that they could not afford to really BS too much. So they came with gameplay. And I think for a lot of us, that was very important. Now, with their communication, they botched a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to get all of this, storage space. And everybody said, we're not paying you for extra storage space. And then they reverted back, and then, oh my gosh, their marketing and their sales for their Ultimate Edition really did expose that they wanted to be greedy on that front, but it just didn't work out for them. So they created more not friends than friends in that debacle anyways. Again, we look back at gameplay. Let's just keep it to gameplay and look at fidelity of the game and all of the above. Now, when you kind of think about all of this, you kind of have to come back and then say, how has the Division 2 progressed? Division 2 progressed in a very rocky manner. I played on PC on launch. Game ran well. Game was amazing. I enjoyed the experience. A lot of people hated it, but then on PlayStation, that was a terrible experience. The machines could not run a game like this. A lot of PvP players were not happy that they divided the Dark Zone into 3 different Dark Zones, something that we've come to find out from the rumor mill, that the reason we have 3 different Dark Zones is because the game could not carry one big Dark Zone like the Division 2. And I thought, I'll probably make a dedicated video to this someday. But, I think eventually when that came out, it really did, create a lot of animosity between the community. And then add that to the Warlords of New York or post Warlords of New York debacle where players were suspended. It appeared that, the Division was going to pretty much have a hard time in trying to convince its community to continue to move on further with it. Now, yes, there are a lot of new people coming into the community, but they are not as grounded, nor do they know or have the amount of dedication that the old community has had for the longest time. And I think what we're going to be seeing with the Tom Clancy universe and this Ubisoft Forward event and all of that with Heartland and all is an olive branch that Ubisoft might be trying to use to appeal to the community, or even double in the kind of, I would say, double entendre, appeal to the community on one hand, and then at the same time, on the other hand, rope in a whole brand new community. Now, for the longest time, I've decided not to speak much about Heartland, but we're going to be hearing something about it hopefully soon with the E3 and all of that. And I thought we need to understand exactly what this is. It is not just going to be some free-to-play game. I strongly believe that it's going to be a delivery mechanism for all of the amazing things that Ubisoft would probably want to do to kind of keep themselves marketable. Keep in mind, yes, there might be microtransactions, there might be all of that, but that is going to be an investment that they're probably not going to realize for a while. And so what exactly are they going to be doing during all of that time? Twiddling their thumb and supporting a game in that sense? No. I strongly believe that this would be the way for them to, in the near future, gather more data, learn more about player interaction, and eventually use what they learn to establish themselves with another Division game. Because this franchise is so lucrative. This franchise has actually provided them opportunities that they never necessarily believed that they could pretty much hit. Now, many might say, well, but you have Destiny. So what? You also have Godfall that is basically going to be adding their matchmaking after so many months after release. When the Division 1 vanilla base game and the Division 2 showed up with matchmaking, which is a huge community thing for a looter game. You think about other games that tried to make it into the ecosystem and think about what's going on with them right now, like Anthem. They're not getting any content. The Division is getting content. So I strongly think that we're going to be getting a lot of exposure, even in light of the other Ubisoft games that they're probably going to be announcing in this event. They're going to be talking a lot about this. Another thing, too, that a lot of fans have been talking about is the possible, Ghost Recon games, or, the way that those games actually did go. Ghost Recon Breakpoint did not launch very strongly. And yes, it received a lot of criticism, but Ubisoft did not give up on that game. They usually stick with their games. That's one thing about the company. As much as we like that, we don't like the fact that sometimes the games come out half-baked. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was basically a half-baked game. Whoever made the decision for that game to, be released, I guess they got moved eventually, if you ask me. I mean, there was a big, huge shift in the way they actually delegated things. There are now more directors over different aspects of the games. So I guess the Tom Clancy universe more than likely has somebody that's over it. So that person might be coming in to try to build on this franchise. And I think it might be time for that Splinter Cell game to start getting some more, attention if they didn't basically just kill it in the books. That's another thing too. But then you also have the potential Rainbow Six Quarantine. That's another game that also got pushed to the back burner, but a game that they already teased and kind of talked about. So that also will be getting a lot of light. I think when you consider all of this, you consider Heartland, consider the potential Division 2 content, consider how they've been able to foster and still strengthen their Ghost Recon community. And then if you want to really top it off as kind of the icing on the cake, you have to think about the overall large community right now around Rainbow Six Siege. When you kind of put it all together, it makes sense that Tom Clancy games in this Ubisoft Forward event and further down the road are going to be getting a lot of exposure. Regardless of how you want to cut it, the franchise is that important to them. And I strongly believe that we're going to be seeing something from the developers and from the publisher coming very soon. And so how do we look at this? How do we take this? Is this something to be excited for? Not in the least. If you were to ask me, I would tell you that after the Cyberpunk 2077 debacle, like I've mentioned, there has been a huge amount of skepticism with every release, and every game is going to be judged, very, very critically. In fact, nobody's going to get a pass this time, because if CD Projekt Red could not deliver, I don't think EA is going to make it. Neither is Konami going to just get a free pass, because they're going to be coming out with their soccer games and telling you, Konami is going to be telling you, oh, we're making our, soccer game in Unreal Engine and blah, 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 whatever. Wait till the game comes. I'll probably buy in day one because, I'm an Unreal Engine person. I like to see what developers do with the engine. But at the end of the day, players are going to be like, nah, man, and I'm waiting, because not a lot of games right now are really making people too excited. If you think about the ones that had some excitement behind them with established IPs, a lot of them got delayed. You look at Hogwarts, you look at the Gotham Knights game, you look at the Harry Potter, well, there's a Hogwarts game, you look at the Dying Light game. Even though they've started doing some releases, that also kind of got delayed earlier on. And then even the PlayStation exclusives, Horizon and all the others, those haven't really received much in regard to news of release dates and all. So yes, we've seen it, but we don't know when it's coming out. So I think Ubisoft really has a lot to gain in this particular time period, and they're going to really leverage it. As it stands, we don't really know many other studios that are going to be doing a lot, except maybe down the road. But again, they have a huge lineup, and I think more than likely for a publisher, they have a bigger lineup than any other publisher out there for games that are more than likely going to be releasing, or even expansions, or even, I would say, a lot of the community aspects anyways right now, than many other studios. I think the only other studio you might say will have a huge list, or at least any huge presence, would be Activision with Diablo Remastered, Diablo 4. But again, I mean, we're not talking about three possible major games. I mean, Ubisoft is sitting on multiple of these games with a huge back catalog, and I think this is the time for them to actually even tease some of them. But again, you don't know whatever it is that they're actually dealing with when it comes to the way they're structuring their studios and all of the above. But I look forward to it. I mean, like I said, I'm keeping my expectations in check. I've learned to never be hyped about any video game. Even if they announce a Division 3 game, still won't be hyped. It won't even move even the hair on my head. Nothing is. I'm just gonna be like, whatever. Until I see it, I'm not going to be able to evaluate until I get my hands on it. Anyways, that's it for me. I just wanted to make, pretty much share my thoughts on all of this. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks for your support. Thank you so much for those of you who have stuck with the channel, who have stuck with me, who have stuck with the content and have engaged, leaving comments, whatever it is, subscribing. You guys are pretty much those who make this community what it is. And I do appreciate you guys for that. Talk to you guys in another video. Peace out.